ways you can find. Glad to see that I could help make your life a bit easier. But have you ever thought of how I felt? You need to think about your behavior.
Here. We had a lot of fans earlier, had a lot of great questions, tough questions, and so it's a situation where we're excited to get started. And again, our starting point here is a lot higher than what we started with in Toronto. So that's what's also is very exciting.
Very exciting indeed here. I am Simply Butch. This is Butch On Sports. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thanks for tuning in. It's been a busy day in sports in the city of Detroit. We got a lot to get to you. Let's have at it, boys and girls, with a 1 and a 2 here. Today, the Detroit Pistons are still opening questions about the makeup of the front office. However, the coaching staff is now in place as today they introduced at the press conference today at Little Caesars Arena Mr. Dwane Casey as the new head coach of the Detroit Pistons. He says everyone feels like they have a winner on their hand. Yes, Tom Gores, he talked about the impressive work that he was with Casey's pedigree, his work ethic, the ability to relate with other players, and Casey talked about Gores' vision and how clear it was that he cares for his team and his community. And Ed Stefanski talked about how all the pieces are in place to succeed in the city to get a winning team for the Detroit Pistons. Dwane Casey had a whole heck of a lot to say. Let's have at it and listen to Dwane Casey.
Coaches that are working with them, developmental coaches, basically, guys that are helping us out until we can get it formalized. But every player out there is working right now, from Blake, Stanley Johnson, Luke Kennard, Henry Ellison's going out there, I think either yesterday or today, to get started. So we're going to have Detroit West in Los Angeles going right now.
And what about the Los Angeles here? Many, and we'll get to that later with Tom Gores, the discussion with the media on the connect with him and the city of Detroit, which was very, very, exclusive indeed here. However, he mentioned about Pistons West. He mentioned also in this particular conversation that many of the players on the offseason moved to L.A., and that's not typical. A lot of places move to L.A. Well, let's get some more from Dwane Casey on this particular.
The most important thing, I think, is the talent level that you have with Blake, Andre, and also with Reggie to start with. Those three are, veteran, more or less veteran players. And then the next level of guys, you're talking about Luke Kennard, you're talking about Stanley Johnson, who I've always admired from afar, and then also Henry Ellison. Three very talented young players. And I put Andre in that group too as being young. He's 24 years old, just an untapped, wealth of talent still there. And that's going to be on us and myself and the coaching staff to really draw as much out of it as we can. But the talent level on the roster is there. Getting it together and identifying how we're going to play is very, very important. And that's the fun part. That's the fun part of it. Because, again, the talent base is there. The number one nemesis that, and Ed and I have talked about it, Tom has talked about it, is health. If we got to work and find a way, whatever rock we have to look under to make sure we stay healthy, whether it's, be innovative and creative with our training methods or whatever that is to work to stay healthy, because it's been a big nemesis for us. But again, it's part of the NBA.
Yes, indeed, for especially the Detroit Pistons, my friends. Reggie Jackson is one that comes off the top of my head as healthy. Andre Drummond at times don't seem to have that petulant and vigor that it comes to a good star to play a good 48-minute game. Well, of course, players don't play always 48 minutes per se, but the time they're spinning on the court there, sometimes it was very lethargic indeed, especially in the third quarter of games where the Pistons may had leads and just got them blown away by the opposite team indeed. I don't know, but again, one of the conversations that was brought up, and it was brought up very deeply about this particular press conference was many players now go to L.A. to do their off-season as far as living, having their families there. We heard LeBron James say where his family enjoys L.A. a great deal, has a home in Brentwood, fixing it all up and whatnot there, so his family can spend quality time on the West Coast. Maybe because of the weather, maybe because of the attitude, maybe because of the environment, maybe because there's many other things to do and many other things to see. It's a whole heck of a lot of things you have to put together for a player to want to stay in your town in order to do right. Now, one of the questions that was brought up in this particular press conference was, and they really hammered on it, is when was the new facility for the Detroit Pistons would be dealt with and done. And the question that Stefani came on out with, and also Art Tellum came on out with, which is the spokesman Planet Equity, and also a great spokesman for Tom Gores, is that that place will be ready as of next September. Not this year, but next year. Still, they'll be using Auburn Hills practice facility as their place to go. But again, when you have the cold months, when the season is over in Detroit, many of the players, again, they go out to L.A., they spend their time with their family and friends, and seems to be a lot more going on. And not only Detroit, but San Antonio. Recently, the head coach of the San Antonio Spurs had to go out and have a conversation as of yesterday with Kawhi Leonard on why he wanted to leave San Antonio. So again, it's nothing relevant about the situation of many players see Los Angeles as a place to live more containing than they would stay in the Midwest for the entire year. Well, you can't blame them with the money they make, and they want to get the most comfort in town. So again, that choice is theirs to make and theirs alone, and I can't complain about it. But however, again, many of the press people think that we got to make our city comparable where players will stay and want to be here. I think that was the biggest key, and also one of the biggest keys is that the owner Tom Gore spent a lot more time in Detroit and in connection with the community, which again was a kind of a up and down question per se, because again his business is in Los Angeles as well. His family lives in Los Angeles. He makes frequent trips to Detroit when it gets good and ready here. However, again, you can't question on the livability of someone or a family of picking the best place for them to live and find comfort in their life there. So again, we get all those particular questions, indeed, that were blasted away at this particular press conference, which was very interesting to me indeed. We got some comments from Tom Gores later on in the show. We'll deal with that in a few there. Let's kind of move on with our podcast here on Butch On Sports here. Again, thanks for being with us. The Detroit Tigers Can we get to Detroit Tigers? Yes, we will. We'll get to Detroit Tigers right now. Um, Detroit Tigers had a chance to split a series with Cincinnati, which is the third worst team in all of Major League Baseball. They had a very good chance to reach over the 500 mark with 2 victories in Cincinnati. Well, boys and girls, that did not get done. As today, our pitcher indeed. Oh boy, free swinging the Cincinnati Reds got off. Scooter Gannett hit a tying 2-run homer, and then Eugene Suarez, who was an ex-Tiger, by the way, connected on the next pitch, blew a double in the first place. Well, however, instant replay review showed that it was a home run. The Tigers lose to the Cincinnati Reds on the score of 5-3. They swept the 2-game series as of today, boys and girls. I don't know what to say. It's a Monday. Everything was peachy keen. It looked like hope, and then they get to the third worst team of all of baseball and lay an egg. I said it once, and I say it again, and I don't mean any harm with Boyd or today's pitcher. Indeed, I don't even want to mention his name there because it was lacking substance there. But I'll say it indeed. The Tigers pitchers seem to be very good for 5 innings. And we're talking about the starting pitchers indeed. And yes, Ron Gardenheimer said he's going to a 6-man rotation pretty soon, very quick here, That leaves Blaine Hardy as one of those particular 6 there when you get Liriano and Zimmerman coming back on the scene there. You got Boyd and etc. You go with all that particular there, but they don't seem to be good for only about 5 innings. 5 innings. 6 innings, if they can get through 6, is a bonus. 7th innings, with our pitchers going into play, it just turns haywire. Today is in the 6th inning when all this occurred, and what can I say? The Tigers lose a sweep to Cincinnati. Well, what can you say? What can you say indeed? I just really... I want to laugh, but I want to cry as well because, again, this is a team right now is finding themselves. The talent is there in certain way, shape, form, and fashion, as it's going to get better. But again, coming to terms with certain things that you have to work with. And I agree with Bernie, Bernie Casey, but Dwane Casey, very much so. That, and I listened to the scout very carefully in the press box a week ago with Detroit Tigers. He said, well, you let these pitchers kind of work their way out of it, show their guts. That's fine for maybe a scout who is trying to find out a particular player. But when it comes down to a game where fans are there and they're looking for their team to win, and then you figure it out that the pitchers on your staff have enough gas for at least 5 innings of good work, good, efficient work, only get flushed down the toilet when you push them toward the 6th inning. That shows me one thing and one thing only. Either the pitchers are not in shape, or you're babying them, or they're not doing something that basically is untypical. Now I know some of today's coaches look at pitch counts, which I think is a bunch of garbage. It's a bunch of garbage indeed, because the pitchers beforehand was not having those many Tommy John surgeries or whatever it may be, and still was able to make the day. And it was pride and privilege with pitchers back in the good old days to go the route. Pitchers today don't seem like you want to go the route. But the good pitchers like Scherzer, okay, and others that are very good. Clemens is another one. They took pride and want to go the whole game and want to take care of business. And I can't see a pitch count is a way to go with men in the picture, and the pictures are still injured, still have arm problems. There's something wrong with the training rhetoric that goes on today. I know pictures throw harder, but is it necessary in a picture being smarter? Think about it if you got nothing else to do. I'm going to leave that one alone and let you think about it. Today was some bad news indeed for wrestling stars all over the world. It was announced today that Vader, his real name is Leon White, also known as Big Van Vader, has died at the age of 63 years old. Vader's son, Jesse White, announced that his father's death on his Twitter page today is with a heavy heart to inform that my father, Leon White, passed away on Monday night, approximately about 7:25. He said that about a month ago, his father was diagnosed with a severe case of pneumonia. He found it extremely hard and clinically was making progress. Unfortunately, on Monday night, his heart had enough, and it was time. Big Van Vader was a favorite in the WWE, and also he was a favorite in the NWA and other wrestling cohorts there. He was the big, strong, boogity bad guy, heel, or whatever you want to call him, but he kept a lot of excitement through the wrestling rings. Van Vader, Big Van Vader, I should say, dead at the age of 63 years of age. And if you didn't get the news and you watched SmackDown yesterday, you lack seeing one of the talents that they have there as Big Cass, known as William Morrissey. Yes, Big Cass' name is William Morrissey. Pro Wrestling Promotion Statement. And his former partner, who we know was Enzo Amore, who was named Colin Cassidy, are no longer in the WWE. Cassidy, found a rape charge in January, was accused. He was thrown out of there, but Big Cass was released as of Monday for some said in the close to the WWE of unconditional release because of disciplinary functions there. It was in the edge of Big Cass fought on Daniel Bryan recently on the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. But out on Monday morning, William Morrissey, other known as Big Cass, got the news that he has been released for conditions of insubordination or something that happened behind the scenes between that Sunday and where the WWE on Monday released him from their promotional events or company. Okay, so you got that news in the play there. You got that news by me. You definitely did. I told you. And that's gonna be something to kind of behold there, but who knows? Who knows? And it might have something to do with maybe the match which I did not see, the Money in the Bank pay-per-view of Daniel Bryan and himself, but there were some people, and reliable source said Big Cass went a little too far in that match, as per the announcement there, and they had to part ways with him. So Big Cass and Enzo Amore are both gone from the WWE. They were big cult popularity figures in the NXT portion of the WWE. That's their training regimen, and also I call it the minor league of the WWE. And didn't feel too well there. They were very good when they first came on out there. Then they split it apart, and then that's when everything hit the fan. Big Cass got his injury on his knee, took major surgery, and again Enzo Amore in January. Okay, after going to the smaller version or 205 Live, which is their spitting image of their I call it the Falala, Missouri of wrestlers there, the bang and boom, the aerial acts and all this other good stuff there. Went over to that particular one phase of the WWE. Just shortly after that, just got into trouble and was accused of rape, so they let him go. WWE is taking care of business. We don't have no news report on Detroit Lions because right now Detroit Lions are majority of the people or the players and some of the coaching staff went home to take a little break right now here. Some of the players are still working out, are religiously getting to know that playbook, especially the rookies are staying in town and getting everything together, ready, finding an established place to live and harbor out while before training camp happens in late July. Some news came about Ron Gronkowski there, and trade talks were real according to multiple sources. But cooler heads eventually prevailed when they got to talk to Ron Gronkowski, who basically was not happy at the New England Patriots there. The tight end was certainly has been a big part of the offense for the Patriots. But again, he was certainly not happy. And according to reports, the Patriots had talked to the Tennessee Titans, the San Francisco 49ers, and then on Monday it came out to say that they also talked to the Detroit Lions about him. Whoa. Think about it, boys and girls. What would we have done with someone like Ron Gronkowski as a tight end? Woo-wee. But Colin Cowherd came out with that particular play. Also, the Houston Texans were talked about a trade, seemingly with the disgruntled tight end. But they finally had a talk, and they came to an agreement that wouldn't happen. Of course, this is early summer. As of tomorrow, officially summer hops in our laps on Thursday at 6:05. We don't know what goes in store down the road. Oh, boy. Kyrie Irving. And also Gordon Hayward for the season, as well as we know there for playoff ramifications, was not available for the Boston Celtics. And what if they were available for the playoffs against the Cleveland Cavaliers? What would it have been? Well, head coach and also Danny Ainge and Brad Stewart, which is the head coach, assured that these guys are going to be ready about August, where they'll both be in playing condition and be ready to come into camp in late September or September in the middle and be ready for action for the team. Hayward suffered a setback due to complications of surgery implant of a broken bone. Irving had an infected screw that was removed in April for a broken kneecap he suffered in 2015, the end of his season. Meanwhile, they say all those particulars are being worked out medically, and these players are looking good, and they're working out, and they'll be ready for August. Hip, hip, hooray for the Boston Celtics, huh? Speaking of basketball in particular, we tell you, the draft is tomorrow. Pistons says they're ready and waiting. Of course, it brings me to Tom Gores. And he was talked about, and I mentioned very much so, they talked about him exclusively on how much he really cared for the team in the city of Detroit. Because you don't get to see him but every now and then. He runs a very, very good business in Planet Equities, which is based in Los Angeles, California. But he, Tom Gore, has defended himself, say he does a lot of things in this city and in the state. He's from Flint, Michigan. Not from Detroit, but he's from Flint, so he's a Michigander. And he's done a lot. He's made improvements at Belle Isle. He's put his money where his mouth was. He's made improvements in certain gymnasiums and libraries and throughout the metropolitan Detroit area. And he made that apparent. He let that be known. But some also, again, questions were being asked about with Tom Gores. And I'll let you hear about right now here. Well, maybe not now, but maybe now.
Evaluation as well. To this point, why do you think it hasn't worked yet here from a consistent winning standpoint, and why do you think this setup will work now?
Well, look, we haven't won, so that's clear. That's a fact. That's just, we haven't won. But I think we've made progress, and look, a lot of people gave Stan a hard time, but, the thing is, he made a lot of progress for us in Detroit. He reestablished the idea of discipline and structure and so on. And a lot of people almost relate my business to basketball. And the fact is, if you look at my business, it took us 6-7 years to really create a foundation. So the thing about Dwane, though, he's ready to speak to the players and really listen. So, and I think it was hard for Stan on the front office side and in the court side. I think that was difficult. But the reality is, I believe in Dwane, and we had a great meeting with the players, and so I'm hopeful. Like, we have to win, right? We know that. We discussed it, and one of the things I was impressed with Dwane about is he knew every player in detail, every single player, every single move, the whole thing.
Oh boy, I don't know what to think about that particular conversation here. But Tom Gores have a way of sliding away from the actual root of the question. Discipline? The way that team performed last year, and we're talking about our own Detroit Pistons, wasn't too much discipline out there. That is something that has to improve. Defense has to improve. And also the character and the culture of working hard and preventing yourself from being injured definitely has to improve. What do I know? Huh? What do I know? Oh, boy. And that ends another edition of Butch On Sports here, boys and girls. Hope you enjoyed. And we'll play some more of the interview that took place down at the Palace sometime this week. Because there are a lot of interesting questions. But now you have a coach he's introduced, and he'll be flying probably back to L.A. here to, not too long, he'll be in Detroit and deal with the players and his coaching staff, which has not been announced yet here. But as soon as we get the word on who his coaching staff and his personal players are who dealing with our fellow players are supposed to be working out right now, we'll let you know. We'll also let you know that Butch On Sports is a presentation of Oh My Darling Productions. Hey, sit a spell. We'll be back with you definitely on Friday, Saturday. Hey, have a good day and get ready for the weekend, boys and girls. Again, Butch On Sports is a presentation of Oh My Darling Productions.